Regular meeting number 19 will now come to order. We please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Remy, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Msgr. Cody.
Let us pray. Eternal and merciful Father, the members of Columbus City Council meeting tonight ask you to be among them and all of us to serve better the needs of the citizens of our city, always and in addition to this holy time. Although these days may be trying and difficult, we have hope for the future and confidence in the goodwill of people who seek a better and more just society for all of us. We cannot forget those who suffer because of discrimination, poverty, or the effects of unjust social structures. Give the members of this council the courage to address these seemingly intractable problems so that all of us may have an equitable share in the freedom and opportunity that our great nation and our great city affords to her citizens. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
May I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This week's communication received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Are there any resolutions by members of council? Councilmember Brown.
Yes, thank you, President Harden. As I read this resolution, I would like to invite Lee Bishop to the podium, please. Tonight we have Resolution 0098X-2018 to recognize Coral Link, or Lee Bishop, for receiving the 2018 Ohio World Language Teacher of the Year Award. Thank you so much for being here tonight, Lee.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being named this honor. You're being recognized for your outstanding work as the Japanese, ESL, and international seminar teacher at Columbus North International School. And we're very proud to have you teaching here in Columbus. You and I first met at the Columbus Council of World Affairs event highlighting their Global Scholars Program. But following that, you invited me to speak to your ninth graders about the importance of being an informed and active member of the local community. I bring this up because I think it really highlights how serious you are about engaging your students and encouraging them to participate and learn about important issues from the global scale to the local scale. You're really instilling in them that curiosity for a lifetime. And these are the qualities that set you apart. Based on my experience in your classroom, I was not surprised at all to learn that you have been selected for this statewide award. Teachers are on the front lines of molding future generations into lifelong learners who are empowered for success. And once again, we are privileged to have you working with students in our City of Columbus schools. So thank you again, and congratulations. And before I turn the microphone over to you, I want to see if my colleagues have any questions. And I move for adoption.
Second.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
The microphone's yours.
Thank you so much for this honor of being recognized this evening. I am so proud to be a proud teacher of Columbus City Schools and to represent Columbus City Schools as the Ohio Foreign Language Association World Language Teacher of the Year. It is my intention to spread the terrific work that not only I, but my colleagues, not only in the World Language Department, but throughout the district, do with our students, and to highlight our students as well. As I'm sure you all know, research shows that world language education is a huge support to students at whatever level they're at. In the state of Ohio, research has shown that students who are able to start a world language at the elementary level score 90% higher on the Ohio Achievement Test than their peers who are not exposed to a world language. So I would encourage you, particularly with the Future Ready program that you're beginning to include a world language component into all education programs, because they really do support our students at all levels. A big part of what I talked about in my portfolio as Teacher of the Year was community. And it's important to me that my students are connected with our community and that you're connected with our students and their families and our communities. So I want to recognize you as well in the terrific work you're doing with the various communities that we have in Columbus, and to continue to recognize the diversity that our residents and our students have in supporting not only economic growth, but also in creating a more fruitful community experience for all residents. Thank you again. It is an honor.
Thank you, Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Councilmember Mitch Brown. Thank you. Councilmember Remy.
Good evening. I want to remind everyone that my team and I will be hosting community hours, community meet and greets on the following dates. Coming up this Thursday, April 5th, we'll be at the Columbus Metropolitan Library, the Hilltop branch at 511 South Hague from 4 to 5:30. Next Tuesday, the 10th, we will be from 5 to 6:30 at Panera Bread, located at 684 South High Street. Next, April 12th, we'll be at the Wesley Glen Retirement Community at 5155 North High Street from 4 to 5:30. And Saturday, April 14th, we'll be out at the Westland Area Library located at 4740 West Broad. If you have any questions, I encourage anybody to visit the website at www.columbus.gov and select the elected officials and look under our name and find all our contact information. Otherwise, you can call Jeff Carter or Lucy Frank. Jeff's at 645-3559. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you out there.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. Councilmember Page.
Thank you, President Harding. This evening, I have a resolution 0096X-2018, and I would like to ask Mr. Larry James to approach the podium. And I know that there are a few people with him this evening, and ask you all to come down. Tom Katzenmeyer, I believe we have Lawrence Lemon, Jamie Goldstein, Johan Terrell, Alonzo Edmundo, and if those others, if you could please state your name too. And this resolution is to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Harlem Renaissance and to recognize the momentous occasion being held throughout the city of Columbus. And I would just like to read a few of the clauses in the resolution. The Harlem Renaissance was known as the intellectual, social, and artistic movement that recognized the contributions of blacks, which originated in Harlem, New York during the 1920s. And during the Harlem Renaissance, African-American artists, authors, activists, musicians, and poets were recognized for their brilliance and produced several inspirational works that progressed the movement and nationally revitalized black culture. and some of the local organizations and businesses here who are working to make sure that Columbus recognizes the importance of the Harlem Renaissance are the Greater Columbus Arts Council, the Lincoln Theater, the Columbus Museum of Art, Crab, Brown & James, Warhol and Wall Street, as well as Get Creative. And I would first like to move for adoption of this resolution.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Mr. James, the floor is now yours.
My name is Larry James, Chairman of the Lincoln Theater Board of Trustees, and one of the people who've been involved here. The way this got started, real quick, in 2015, when Will Haygood was doing Showdown at the Lincoln Theater, Nanette Macy June was in the audience, and Will's 4 books have personalities who come out of Harlem. And Nanette had this idea of calling Bill Connors, saying, you think we can get Will to curate an exhibit at the museum? Well, Bill called me at 6 o'clock in the morning. By 8:30 that morning, Will was on board, and this thing began to expand. But GCAC, obviously the museum, we have 30 Columbus Arts organizations that will participate in this program that started in February of 18 and run until February of 19. A couple weeks ago, we had 150 plus black artists celebrating the journey. But you know Tom, you know me, you know Nanette, but I want Yogi to kind of say a few words, because what we've learned to do is lead and get out of the way.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. So one of our main goals as part of the team, like you said here with Alonzo, Wendy Crump, Lawrence Lemon, and the rest of the team, Marshall Shorts, Bobby Ferguson, when we put together the campaign, we wanted to make sure that we pretty much reinvented what happened in the Harlem Renaissance here in Columbus, Ohio. We wanted to make sure that our focus was on Columbus-based black creatives and black artists. And so throughout the year, you're going to see plenty of experiences, cross-collaborative experiences and events that are going on that are going to focus on Columbus's best talent, best artistic talent from our communities. So we're really, really excited to be a part of this, and we look forward to celebrating. We want to thank the city for supporting and recognizing these efforts, as it is important to, as we say, and our slogan is to recognize, reflect, and revive the Renaissance that is right here in Columbus, Ohio, and our rich history of Columbus-based black artists. So we would like to thank you for recognizing that, and we look forward to it.
Thank you. I think the thing that what we thought in this political climate, athletics and art, and I've become a fan of art, different from sports, because it has a sustained ability to intervene, connect us, and have a conversation that makes us all better. And this theme, you will see a lot of it. The Dream that's performing right now at Shadowbox on Sundays at 2 and 7 o'clock. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's worth the price of admission and then some. Bring family, friends, and if you need tickets, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments from my colleagues? Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Page. President Pro Tem Stenziano.
Thank you, President Harden. At this time, I would like to invite Megan Gish, Thomas Ruth, and Amanda Crawford from the Clintonville Beachwald Community Resource Center to the podium as I introduce Resolution 0089X-2018 to recognize April 3rd as the National Service Recognition Day and encourage community members to participate in community service and outreach. I think we all know as council members, and we see it every day, that community service is a pillar of community growth and the foundation for building strong neighborhoods and communities. In Columbus, the Corporation for National and Community Service ranks us as one of the top 25 cities for community volunteerism, with more than 400,000 volunteers logging over 55 million hours of service in 2015 and over 50% of residents donating to charity. I don't have to look too far to see a couple folks that I know participated in Kick Butt Columbus a couple weeks ago, and recently I know other colleagues were helping deliver Meals on Wheels during their March for Meals event. So Columbus's residents' philanthropic efforts continually impact the lives of individuals and entire neighborhoods, from school fundraisers to educational campaigns to social ventures, and many members of our wonderful community have truly found ways to make a difference in the lives of others. So this resolution is for the city to help recognize the importance of community service and outreach, and encourages all residents to reach out a helping hand to neighbors and community members. It's going to be my honor to present this resolution to the Clintonville Beachwald CRC as recognition for your dedicated work benefiting the city of Columbus. If there are no questions or comments, I will move for adoption.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
And with that, the podium's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, President Pro Tem Stenziano and the rest of City Council, for this resolution in support of an opportunity to speak out about the National Service Recognition Day on Tuesday, April the 3rd. In the best tradition of settlement houses, the Clintonville Beachwald Community Resources Center, or CRC, responds to the needs of its diverse community to foster safer, healthier, and empowered lives. The CRC delivers an array of human service programming, including family services, youth services, kinship care, senior supportive services, personal finance management, and Village in the Ville to accomplish this mission. With only 44 staff members, the CRC served over 8,000 people in 2017 across these programs. It is important work that could not have been accomplished without dedicated volunteers. Currently, the CRC utilizes approximately 900 volunteers on an annual basis to assist with everything from unloading food trucks to staffing the CRC's front desk and assisting older adults with yard work. The CRC is very fortunate to have the support of these volunteers as it expands the impact of the work we do and improves the quality of life of the communities we serve. This is especially true for the AmeriCorps Vistas serving this year at the CRC. I would like to introduce one of these Vistas, Thomas Ruth, to discuss the National Service Recognition Day.
Thank you, Megan. Greetings, council members. Service is the hallmark of American character and essential to addressing many needs in the community. Federal, state, and local governments have turned to service for cost-effective solutions to some of society's most pressing issues. The Centers for National and Community Service oversee AmeriCorps, Senior Corps, and several other programs that engage millions of citizens every year. Here in Ohio, more than 8,500 people of all ages and backgrounds are helping to meet local needs, strengthen communities, and increase civic engagement through national service. In 2015, the Centers of National and Community Service sponsored programs generated more than $1.25 billion in outside resources from businesses, foundations, public agencies, and other sources. In other words, national service members get things done efficiently. In celebration of National Service Recognition Day, my fellow AmeriCorps Vista members at the CRC and I have organized an event to engage community members and local businesses in the age-friendly Columbus movement. This Saturday, April 7th, volunteers will be visiting businesses along North High Street in Clintonville to assess the age-friendliness of their business locations. Village in the Ville is one of the programs I work closely with at the CRC, and they have been very involved in the age-friendly movement since the start. This age-friendly business effort is another important part of the process, and the Village is very proud of their involvement. Thank you again for your continued support of the National Service members in the City of Columbus.
Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Councilman Stenziano. I want to say thank you to the young people that are involved in certainly a national service, that it is an important program within this country, but especially in our community. I had the opportunity to run a AmeriCorps program for 13 years, and I recognize the importance of working with young people and then being involved in community service. And once you are involved in these types of programs, you will be involved in service probably for the rest of your lives. So I congratulate you for committing yourself to service in this community. I hope you have success, certainly working through the age-friendly program, because it's like the young people working with some of the seniors in our community. I'm sure you'll both grow through that experience. And again, thank you, Councilmember President Pro Tem Stenziano, for bringing this resolution forward, because it is a very important one for individuals who are giving of themselves to this community. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, President Harden. I have a resolution 0056X-2018, and I'm going to ask Kent Holloway, who is the CEO of Lifeline of Ohio, and Stan Harris to come towards the podium. I think India Harris, and let's see, Rokisha Harris. You don't want to walk? Okay. Well, thank you. So, this resolution is to proclaim April as Donate Life Month in the City of Columbus and to encourage residents to give consideration to sharing the gift of life through organ, eye, and tissue donation. Whereas nearly 115,000 men, women, and children are currently awaiting a life-saving organ transplant in the United States. In fact, approximately 20 people die each day because of the lack of an available organ. Whereas in Central Ohio, there are nearly 600 men, women, and children currently listed for an organ transplant at The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center or Nationwide Children's Hospital. Moreover, there are approximately 3,000 people awaiting an organ transplant at any given time in the state of Ohio. Whereas a single donor can potentially save the lives of 8 people through organ donation by donating their heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, kidneys, small intestine, and enhance the lives of more than 50 others through tissue donation by donating corneas, veins, heart valves, bone, skin, tendons, ligaments, and nerves. Whereas Lifeline of Ohio is the designated organ procurement organization dedicated to promoting and coordinating the donation of organs and tissue for transplantation in this area. The generosity of the citizens of Lifeline of Ohio service area enabled a record of 409 organs to be recovered for transplant in 2017. Whereas National Blue and Green Day will be celebrated by Lifeline of Ohio on April the 13th. This is a nationwide celebration that encourages Americans to wear shades of blue and/or green in support of organ, eye, and tissue donation. This event will draw attention to the need for more registered donors to save and heal those who are waiting for their second chance at life through organ, eye, and tissue donations, which give the gift of life. Whereas more than 5.7 million Ohioans have made the important decision to register as an organ, eye, or tissue donor in the Ohio Donor Registry. The Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles makes it easy to register your advance directive decision to become an organ or tissue donor on their driver's license or state identification card by signing up at lifelineohio.org or by filling out a paper registration form. Whereas discussing your wishes regarding donation is one of the most important additional steps a family can take. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby declare the month of April of 2018 as Donate Life Month in the City of Columbus and encourage residents to give the consideration to sharing the gift of life through organ, eye, and tissue donation. And I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Holloway. The floor is yours.
President Harden, Representative, our council member Tyson, and all the council members, thank you very much for this, and thank you for continued support of our mission to help citizens donate and save lives. So as you mentioned, we had a record year last year, 400 organs provided by people in our service area for life-saving transplants. So it was a record year nationally, and a record year locally, but there's still thousands of people waiting for a life-saving transplant. So as you also mentioned, Blue and Green Day on Friday the 13th, we'll be wearing the collars to hopefully recognize and call attention to the need for people to become registered organ, eye, and tissue donors. And in addition to that, that same evening at 7:30 at our location at 770 Kinnear Road, we'll have a candlelight visual to honor and remember our donors and to give hope for those waiting for a life-saving transplant. We'll have speakers from every sort of aspect of donation there that evening, and we invite you all to be there, and it's open to the community. So now it's my honor to introduce you to Stan Harris. He's a Donate Life ambassador for us, and his life was changed forever thanks to it, the generosity of a donor.
Good evening. Councilman President Harden, Council President Pro Tem Stenziano, and members of the council. My name is Stan Harris, and this is my wife, India, who has stood beside me through this whole ordeal. And we're grateful to be here today to speak to you. August 18, 2008 started out like any normal day. I was driving to work when I began to feel sick. Instinctively, I knew that this is something that was very different than I've ever felt before. I immediately detoured to OSU East. Within 15 minutes of arriving at the hospital, my body began to shut down. I was intubated and immediately put on dialysis. I was unconscious for 2 days, and when I awoke, the doctors told me that I was lucky to be alive. Little did I know that this was the start of a 4.5-year journey to a new kidney. During that hospital stay, I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease and told that I would eventually need a kidney transplant. That was very scary to hear at the time, but I was determined to live life as fully as possible while I waited for my second chance at life. Despite being tethered to a dialysis machine 3 days a week, most days I faked being healthy. I returned to work, didn't tell my boss or my wife how sick I was really beginning to feel. I tried to live each day as normal as possible. Around July 18, 2012, I was so tired and sick I had decided I might have to quit my job because I couldn't handle working and then doing the treatments. But just 5 days later, I received a call. My wife and I were speechless when we answered the phone at 1 a.m. in the morning. I couldn't believe the news and felt immediate gratitude for my donor and their family. Words cannot describe how thankful I am for my donor. I have received the ultimate gift, and I want to honor my life with that life. Since my transplant, I have been able to spend more time with my grandchildren and now great-grandchildren. I've been able to travel more and enjoy life. On behalf of those touched by donation, thank you for supporting Lifeline of Ohio, Ohio's mission to save, heal lives through organ, eye, and tissue donations. Thank you.
Any questions or thoughts from my colleagues? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. And let me just reiterate for all those who are involved in watching on television in the audience, the importance of the gift of life. I have friends who've had to have transplants, and I have a strong sensitivity for the issue. We can all help by donating to Lifeline. You don't have to give a kidney or any other organ, but to be more aware of the importance of the gift of life. It is really, really special. This gentleman who's standing here before us tells you what his life was like before when he had to go on dialysis, and to tell you what his life is like now, absent dialysis, and to be able to continue to enjoy his life with his family. There is nothing greater that we collectively can do than to be able to give the gift of life to others. So thank you, and Lifeline, you make a special difference in everyone's life. My sensitivities, because when I ran the Bureau of Motor Vehicles many, many years ago, I was the one who initiated the activity associated with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles being involved in this process. So I have a strong feeling for it. So congratulations to you, sir, and to your family. So thank you all.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. I also want to recognize that I have the opportunity to attend church with the Harrises, and I will tell you that Mr. Harris is a man of valor, and he is always right there serving. Not only, I know he serves with Lifeline, but serving at the church. And before you step away, I'm going to give you the resolution. I'm also going to give to Mr. and Mrs. Harris some certificates, because I do appreciate that you, because you have made this a mission for you to go out and have both of you to be able to talk to individuals in regards to donations of tissue donations, eye donations, just Lifeline, to support the Lifeline organization. But I would ask that we just take, after I share a story, just take a moment of silence to honor a young lady. And there is a young lady, her name is Jasmine Handon. Jasmine was a 30-year-old young lady that worked for Primary One. She was also in school, had graduated, was still in school, 3.7 grade point average, and worked with Primary One. But not only did she work with Primary One, her number one role was to go out and work in this community, to work with our homeless individuals, to make sure that they got health care. That was what she focused on each and every day of her life. She also was a young woman that certainly, based upon knowing her parents, a religious young woman. She was a Girl Scout from being the Daisy troop to being in a senior troop. So just always giving and serving. On March the 19th, maybe a day or two before that, leaving work, she was killed. Well, that day she was hit by a car, an oncoming car. And this young lady ended up dying on March the 19th. Today was her funeral, and to think about what was going to happen here. And she donated organs to save at least 4 individuals' lives. She was 30 years old and the only child of these 2 parents. And so it is pretty, thinking about what we were going to do today in terms of providing this resolution, and to think about a young woman whose parents, and she said had to let her go to make sure, though, to save others' lives. And so if we could just take a moment of silence to just honor Jasmine Marlene Handon for her gift of life. Thank you so very much. And I'm going to now give you your resolution and also certificates to Mr. and Mrs. Harris. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any comments by elected officials, Madam Auditor, City Attorney, Treasurer? I see Mr. McAllister is here with the Hilltop Area Commission. Is there any comments? Please.
Thank you, President Hardin, President Pro Tem Stinziano, and members of council. Do have an announcement to make. On April the 14th at 10 a.m., there will be a big community meeting for the Wedgwood community. I'm sure you all know how much that community is suffering and how much help they need. I'd like to invite each one of you to be there. It'll be April the 14th, 10 a.m. at the Wedgwood Middle School. That meeting will be sponsored by the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, Columbus Department of Neighborhoods, and the Columbus Division of Police, so please plan to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAllister, and thank you to the Area Commission and Department of Neighborhoods for really spearheading important conversations and being that convener. Thank you. Are there any requests by members of council for removal of ordinance or resolution from consent action of the agenda? Seeing none, may we have a motion to waive reading of the titles of the 30-day legislation by the City Clerk?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on the agenda for the first reading?
Finance Committee, ordinances 801, 805, 817, 834, and 836-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, ordinance 852-2018. Technology Committee, ordinance 424-2018. Public Utilities Committee, ordinances 699, 705, 709, 739, 746, 752, 754, 756, 782, 785, 799, 825, and 831-2018. Zoning Committee, ordinance 743-2018.
The following ordinance appear on our agenda as consent actions. Will the clerk now read the ordinances numbers of each of those into the record?
Resolutions of expression 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95X-2018, Resolution 100X-2018. Finance Committee, ordinances 685, 718, 722, 750, 804, and 850-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee, ordinances 456, 474, and 476-2018. Education Committee, ordinance 892-2018. Public Safety Committee, ordinances 848 and 885-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee, ordinances 16, 23, 642, 706, 778, 792-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee, ordinances 558, 744, 965, and 966-2018. Housing Committee, ordinance 796-2018. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee, ordinances 401 and 725-2018. Neighborhoods Committee, ordinance 745-2018. Technology Committee, ordinance 667-2018. Public Utilities Committee, ordinances 467, 595, 609, 707, 717, 719, 774, and 890-2018. And appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0087, 88, 89, and 90-2018.
We have no speakers for the consent agenda. So may I get a motion for approval of these items designated as consent?
So moved.
Clerk, call the roll by voice, please.
Ms. Brown?
Yes, with the exception of
Do we need a second?
0744, on which I
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Page? Mr. Remy? Yes. Mr. Stenziano? Yes. Ms. Tyson? President Harden?
Yes, ordinance is passed. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled and emergency legislation. The first committee this evening is the Finance Committee. Councilmember Elizabeth Brown chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight, I have one ordinance in Finance, 0686-2018, to authorize the Director, excuse me, of the Department of Finance and Management on behalf of the Facilities Management Division to renew the existing Facilities Management Agreement with Paradigm Properties of Ohio, LLC, for professional building management services and building operating expenses at the Jerry Hammond Center and the Municipal Court Building, to authorize the expenditure of $1,028,611 from the Property Management Fund and $1,159,110 from the General Fund. The city currently maintains and operates the Jerry Hammond Center at 1111 East Broad and the Franklin County Municipal Court Building at 375 South High through a facilities management agreement with Paradigm. This agreement was initially approved by Council in 2012 and later modified in 2017 to extend the contract for 2 years. This extension was necessary to provide time to process a new request for proposal for building management services. This ordinance authorizes the Finance and Management Director to renew the existing agreement for the final year of this extension. The Department of Finance and Management will solicit new requests for proposal in 2018 for a new building management services contract for these facilities. Any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
That's all I have in finance.
Thank you, Chair Brown. The next committee to come before council is the Public Safety Committee. Councilmember Mitchell Brown is chair. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight I have ordinance 08382018 to authorize an appropriation of $1,440,066.73 from the unappropriated balance of the Law Enforcement Contraband Seizure Fund to the Division of Police to fund travel and training needs and to purchase equipment, supplies, and services, and to declare an emergency. This ordinance is passed annually to allocate the unappropriated balance of the previous year's Law Enforcement Contraband Seizure Fund for the Division of Police to be utilized again for law enforcement purposes only as specified in ordinances 1850-85. These funds are used to purchase various supplies and equipment. If there are no questions, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
President Harden, if I may, I have one piece of legislation in rules of reference.
Please.
Thank you, sir. To amend Section 5, Ordinance 0830-218, to amend Section 501.09 of the Columbus City Code to increase the application fee for issuance of license under Title V, the Business Regulation and Licensing Code. This ordinance will change the application fee to obtain a city license from $10 to $20. The fee has not been changed since 1974. The license section of the Department of Public Safety has recommended this ordinance to offset costs associated with the licensing process. If there are no questions, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
That's all I have, Council President.
Thank you, Chair Brown. The next committee to come before council is the Economic Development and Small Business Committee. Councilmember Jiza Page chairs. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. This evening in Economic Development, Small and Minority Business, we have Ordinance 0720-2018 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a dual-rate jobs growth incentive agreement with Corson Fire and Security Incorporated for a term of up to 5 consecutive years in consideration of the company's proposed capital investment of $750,000, the retention of 84 jobs, and the creation of 25 new full-time permanent positions with an estimated annual payroll of approximately $1.13 million. With this expansion, Corson plans to increase the size of its current facility of approximately 19,820 square feet by adding an additional 14,000 square feet to support its growth. Additionally, as I stated, they will retain the 84 full-time jobs with an annual payroll of approximately $3.47 million and create 25 new full-time permanent positions with a cumulative estimated annual payroll of approximately $1.13 million. Are there any additional comments from the department? Thank you. Any additional comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Ordinance 0779-2018 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a downtown office incentive agreement with Matic Insurance Services Incorporated. Matic Insurance Services Incorporated was founded as a technology company which integrated into the insurance industry. Matic would like to expand in Columbus to take advantage of relationships with the insurance carriers headquartered here in our city. The company intends to lease, renovate, and occupy approximately 12,000 square feet of office space, and the expansion of the service center will support new integration partnerships and provide access to a diverse and talented pool of prospective employees. Matic anticipates retaining 10 existing full-time permanent positions with an associated annual payroll of approximately $645,000 and expects to create 50 new full-time permanent positions with an associated annual payroll of approximately $3,317,000. Are there any additional comments from the department? Any comments or questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second. Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
And then for the final ordinance this evening, if I may defer to Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. She is also a member of this committee, and she will offer this piece of legislation.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Page. I'd like to invite Betsy Pandora of the Short North Alliance to the podium as I go over this ordinance. It is Ordinance 0935-2018 to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a grant agreement with the Short North Alliance in support of marketing services for a parking validation program, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Jobs Growth Subfund and to declare an emergency. And we're authorizing $15,000. So this year, and I want to turn it over to Betsy to talk more about the program, but I'm going to do a little preamble. This year, the Short North is experiencing high levels of construction, as many of us know, due to private development projects and the city's high street streetscape improvements. These things are occurring simultaneously. So months ago, we began to hear concerns from the small and independent business owners about the impacts these disruptions were causing And this ordinance is really the result of many discussions to identify a collaborative way to help with this issue, with really the private sector and Betsy leading. So the result is a parking validation program funded by private sector developers and implemented by Betsy and the Short North Alliance. The program will create a supportive environment for customers and small business owners in the Short North Arts District at no cost to them. This is a pilot program, and Betsy will talk about what that could mean for the district. It has nothing to do with the Short North parking pilot. It is a separate effort that really was driven by the independent retail businesses. So I want to thank Council President Hardin for his work in developing the solution together. After many meetings last year when he was small business chair and I was economic development chair. I want to thank Councilmember Remy for his support of the program and for immediately engaging with small businesses in the neighborhood to understand how you could help. I want to thank Councilmember Page for her leadership as economic development chair and helping get this program done. And then I want to acknowledge your leadership, Betsy, and also thank a few of your members. I don't know if they're board members or simply just members of the Alliance, but Josh Quinn of Tiger Tree, Joan Schnee of On Paper, and Maren Roth of Row all really advocated and helped kind of problem solve something that they thought was within reach. So with that, I will turn it over to you to talk a little more before we take questions.
Sure. Thank you so much, Councilmember Brown, for your leadership on this. And thank you, Council President Hardin, Council President Potem Stinziano, Council Members Page and Ramey, and all of you for being so supportive of us. And thank you for inviting me to chat with you tonight. 2018, as you mentioned, is a very atypical year of construction in the Short North Arts District. It's an area that has, as you've acknowledged, long suffered from both real and perceived challenges to parking access and availability, and the ongoing streetscape construction coupled with building construction has created some new challenges for us. For parking in particular this year. Daytime on-street metered parking availability is a little bit of a moving target from April to October as the streetscape work progresses throughout the corridor. And while the city's Department of Public Service has been working very hard to manage that construction so that it remains as minimally impactful to our businesses as possible, parking is something that ends up inadvertently being impacted a little bit more due to that construction. However, there are literally hundreds of available parking spaces in garages no more than a block off of High Street that we believe the public simply just doesn't have a strong enough awareness of and could be encouraged to use if they had better information and if they had a little bit more encouragement. So as an organization that cares about the success of everyone in our community, small businesses in the district specifically have engaged us to find solutions to help them be successful this year. And to that end, the Short North Alliance has worked with garage and property owners to create a pilot parking garage validation program during 2018's atypical year of construction to help encourage visitors and customers to keep coming to the Short North. And we're very grateful that private owners have helped to contribute over $50,000 to underwrite the cost of the program itself, specifically to help support those small businesses and those daytime businesses and retailers who we've worked with very carefully to develop this program. The program itself is actually modeled after something that's quite familiar. Many of you maybe have visited the North Market more than frequently, and you'll know that they have a very successful validation program that they have done for many years that offers a first hour of parking for $1 in their lot, and so we've modeled our program after that. It's organized into three-month-long promotions where visitors and customers who make a purchase at participating businesses during the day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., any day of the week, will be able to get their parking validated so that first hour is just $1. And that will be the case for the new Castle Garage that's opening next week at 2nd Avenue, just off of High Street, from April to June. At the Hub Garage that is on Hubbard Avenue, just off of High Street, from June to August. And the Joseph Garage that is just off of High Street on Russell from August to October. And in particular, I'd like to thank Robert Farron, the Assistant Director of Parking Services in the Department of Public Service, whose expertise on developing programs like this has just been invaluable, and we've really appreciated it. We are so pleased that our district garage and property owners see the importance of such a program to our small business community and are really thankful for their willingness to try something new with us this year. The funds being considered tonight by the City of Columbus are to support the marketing and communications of this effort so that it can be as successful as possible. Specifically, the funds that we would seek tonight are being used to purchase print publication advertising, radio advertising, digital advertising, and other educational materials that increase public awareness of the program so that we can be successful. Having never done a program like this before that's district-wide, and given the context of this year as a construction year, we have heard from our district small businesses that added marketing and communications support, which helps clarify all of the available options to keep visiting the Short North, and in particular for how to park in the Short North, is vitally important. And we're hopeful that this investment will allow for our organization to not only have a successful year for businesses, but also to gather some data so that we can see if there's value for future programs like this and to help inform the overall parking discussion in the district. So thank you very much, Councilmember Brown, Councilmembers Hardin and Ramey and Page for sponsoring this legislation, for the Department of Development Director Steve Shoney for being willing to support this, and we greatly appreciate how much you all clearly care about the Short North.
Are there any questions from my colleagues? Great. Okay, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, Chair Page. The next committee to come before council is the Public Utilities Committee. Council members, President Pro Tem Stenziano is chair. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. I know utilities is always your favorite committee. Tonight, I bring forward ordinance 0482-2018 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with Kenmore Construction Company for the Hap-Cremian Water Plant Standby Power Project. To authorize the appropriation and transfer of $15,431,275 from the Water System Reserve Fund to the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account Fund. To authorize the appropriation expenditure of $15,431,275 from the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account Fund for the Division of Water, and to authorize an amendment to the 2017 Capital Improvements Budget. This project will install standby power generators at the water plant. These generators will provide electric to the plant during a region-wide power outage so that water service can continue uninterrupted. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I'll move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, ordinance 0523-2018, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to modify its contract with SGI Matrix LLC for security system parts, installation, maintenance, monitoring, repair, and support services for the various facilities of the Department of Public Utilities, to allow for an upgrade to the latest version of the Frontier software and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the City Code, and to authorize the expenditure of $3,066 from the Sewer System Operating Fund and $4,234 from the Water Operating Fund. The Department of Public Utilities currently uses the Frontier Access Control System to secure many of its facilities. This contract provides for the parts, service, and maintenance of all access control products. This agreement also provides for the repair and replacement and servicing of all accessible components and emergency service calls and 24 hours, 7-day-a-week telephone support. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
And the final ordinance in public utilities tonight is 0697-2018, to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to enter into a construction contract with Shelley & Sands Incorporated for the Terrace Broad Street Stormwater System Improvements Project and the Eureka Steel Water Line Improvements Project. To authorize a transfer within of $3,309,106.45 and an expenditure of up to $6,767,071.05 from the Stormwater General Obligations Bond Fund, to authorize an expenditure of up to $831,732.90 from the Water General Obligations Voted Bond Fund, and to amend the 2017 Capital Improvements Budget. This project will alleviate structural flooding on private property along West Broad Street and improve water services within the area, both of which will create economic and environmental advantages to the west side by eliminating impacts and damage to the local businesses and impacted homeowners. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, President Harden.
Thank you, Chair Stenziano. The last committee to come before council this evening is the Health and Human Services Committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs this committee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The first ordinance I have is 0784-2018 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish a purchase order with Quagan Inc. for the purchase of quantiferin blood assay QFT screening tests for Columbus Public Health's Ben Franklin Tuberculosis Control Program, and to authorize expenditure of $19,746 from the TB Prevention Control Special Purpose Fund, and to waive the competitive bidding provisions of the Columbus City Code, and to declare an emergency. This company has provided CPH with the software and instrumentation necessary to perform these tests, and the Health Department seeks to waive competitive bidding. Changes to the testing methodology could result in delayed and inconsistent laboratory results. Excuse me. In addition, new instrumentation would have to be bought in-house, new training of staff, new protocols and procedures would have to be written, and validation tests would have to be performed. And so with that in mind, then it would have a significant impact on our clients. I would ask that we would waive competitive bidding, and I also move for approval.
Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 0795-2018 to authorize the appropriation of $150,000 in the West Side Community Fund, to authorize the Director of Development to enter into a contract with the Salvation Army, to authorize expenditure of $150,000 from the West Sides Community Fund for support of the Salvation Army's Hilltop Worship and Community Center, and to declare an emergency. I think a number of people here may recall that there was, as part of our consent order and settlement agreement with the City of Columbus and Penn National Gaming, the parties agreed to create the West Side Community Fund, and both the City of Columbus and Penn National Gaming agreed to donate $2.5 million to the West Side Community Fund, with the first payment being made in 2012 and the final payment being made in 2015. So this ordinance authorizes the appropriation of $150,000 to support their worship and community center. This funding will be used to support capital improvements to the West Side Center in order to better serve the clients of the Salvation Army. The center also serves the residents of the West Side by providing programs focused on seniors, after-school learning, fresh food distribution, and a drop-in center for the victims of human trafficking. If there are no questions or comments, I'm sorry, Councilmember Stenziano.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Just want to mention, you're right, this is a center that has a hub of activity, and this resource is, or these resources are very in need. I would say to some extent the facility has outlived a lot of the services it's provided, and so really appreciate your leadership in helping usher this ordinance through.
Thank you very much. I now move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And the final ordinance I have in my committee this evening is an ordinance number 0818-2018. It's to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Health for the Project Dawn Expansion Program grant in the amount of $14,250, to authorize an appropriation of $14,250 to the Health Department and the Health Department's Grants Fund, and to declare an emergency. The Project Dawn Expansion Grant will eliminate social and geographic barriers that may prevent individuals from acquiring naloxone, provide overdose education, prevention education, and furnish the naloxone. The program will also identify a fixed location at Columbus Fire Department substation where this can be acquired. In the first 6 months of 2017, the Franklin County Coroner reported an 88% increase in accidental overdose deaths compared to the same period in 2016, 88% increase, with overdose death rising from 143 between January 1 and June 30th of 2016 to 268 in the first 6 months of 2017. And so it is important that we're involved in Project Dawn to be able to have a life-saving drug that will help our residents be able to now get some of the treatment that is in our city through the opioid addiction treatment program that we have in the city of Columbus, and that we can now get more individuals like into the Mary Havens program and other programs and save their lives. And if there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. I just have one quick announcement. On April 7th and April the 8th, this is part of Minority Health Month, that from 9 to 1 at Columbus Public Health, the Office of Minority Health will be hosting the Mexican Consulate to provide health screenings and health care resources to our community members, and it is free to the community. For more information, dial 614-645-7335.
Awesome.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Tyson. Seeing no further business to come before this council, can I get a motion to adjourn? Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
We stand adjourned. We have one speaker for non-agenda, which we will take momentarily.